cold in here, isn't it? I know. Not that anyone has any sympathy, but we're doing this live, so we're streaming this live, which means we have bright lights, and we're blinding the poor speakers. I only have to stand here for a few minutes, but the speakers have to stand here longer. And you can't see a thing from up here. So welcome back. Are we recording? I didn't really give you a heads up. We're good? Okay. So I'm Roger, the conference chair. Thank you for being here this morning and for being here now. Our next speaker has done many things in his career. Today he's here as, well, he says entrepreneur and investor. That's exactly it. I was going to say the bad words, venture capital, but he's looking at a lot of interesting things, and he's introducing, to me anyway, today a concept that is going to be real. If you've been coming to our events for the last decade, you'll find a new topic sort of appear on a track, maybe in a general session in the big room like this, and it won't go away. These concepts almost invariably are turning into important topics. Now, over the last few years, AI, along with its relatives, deep learning, machine learning, cognitive computing, has made a comeback. If you've been around a long time, you'll know that this is actually the third wave of AI. We've had 2 AI winters. We're hoping not for a third AI winter. And this one is more practical. I think in the past, AI was trying to do a boil the ocean problem and trying to replicate a human brain. And I think if you know anything about human beings, you'd think, well, why would you do that? Let's try to replicate something better than that. And so these days, AI is actually very focused. And just like a calculator can calculate much faster than we can, a spreadsheet can do the same thing. The AI is on a much higher level, much more focused on specific problems and really getting to the heart of it. And there's going to be disruption involved. And so our next speaker, I think it's, yeah, you can see behind me, Muddu Sudhakar is going to talk about AI ops and really looking at it from the viewpoint, not as a vendor, but from an entrepreneurial viewpoint, an investment viewpoint. And I think of most importance to this audience, the fact is this topic's not going away. Don't get caught. Don't be left out once it really happens. And Muddu, please.
All right, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me at the back? Yes? It's always a hard act to follow in the afternoon. Whether you guys want to fall asleep, go home and go to your job, what would you want to do or listen to me? Probably I'm the last of your choices, right? No? Okay, good. So let's see if I can wake you up with some provocative statements. All right? So with that, I'm going to start. So the presentation of today's talk is, I think earlier we talked a lot in this conference about Cloud Expo being, it's in what, 10th year or 14th year? And cloud has the journey started, what, since 2006 when Amazon first invented S3. So we came 13 years. So the question is, what is next? Where do we go from Cloud Expo? What happens to DevOps? What happens to the IT operations that we know that existed for last 10, 15 years? So that's what I want to cover you. The whole idea is to tell you where I see the trends are happening. You might know better than us, but so figure out that this has one view. This may not be all the right view, etc. So happy to have a dialogue with you guys. So I'm open to questions as well at the end of the conference. So with this, let's get started. So if you look at what's happened in the last 15 years or the last 20 years, I would say, why am I showing you these 3 trends are very important for me is the algorithmic trading. I know how much of you guys are following since 2000. Wall Street has changed a lot in New York City with algorithmic trading starting around 99, 2000. Pretty much, if you go to New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, there are no humans today. Everything is automated. Whether your 401k accounts, your stock trading, your equity trading, all those things is automated. Same thing happened with ad technology. With Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Amazon, there used to be salespeople trying to sell the ads, right? I mean, to publisher sites, etc. Today, everything is real-time bidding. Everything is done without a human in the equation, between publisher and subscribers. We are also going to live in our own lifetime about autonomous cars, right? Is it going to be a reality or not? Nobody knows yet. Maybe it'll take 10 years, maybe 50 years. But the trend here is very clear, which is, can you do certain things that better than humans can do? Or can we help the humans in the process to improve our lives, maybe save people along the way, or make our lifetimes better? So if you see these 3 things, then what is it relevant to this conference? If you go look at what happened with cloud and IT and DevOps, yet it's been, as I said, 13 years for cloud. Everything is still manual. We are still running a DevOps as a rule-based engines. We are still running with site reliability engineers, IT admins. Everything is done with a dashboard. We are putting humans to watch the dashboards, to see what's happening on the waveforms and trying to make a decision. Is that the efficient way to do it? Are you telling me that given that we can automate trading in financial, we can automate our ad technology and driverless cars, and you're telling me that the cloud and DevOps that we know as of today cannot be automatable? Ask you that question. So if you're in the audience, and if your primary roles is in cloud, DevOps, and IT, if I were you guys, I think this area will be automated I don't know, 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years will happen. So that means what do you do? Either you be part of the trend, but do not double down saying that it won't be automated. Because there are enough vendors out there, starting from Amazon. Andy Jassy, CEO of AWS, he's saying that DevOps as a role, he would like to automate by 2025. So all these guys have enough plans that to be done these things in an automated manner. What is that automation looks like? Is it automation to tell you an alert, page you an alert, or tell you try to do a self-healing? How much of that you want to do it? Right? So that's what I want to cover in this presentation today. So if you look at what happened with the trend of cloud, one thing is cloud migration. This is very important trend. The apps and the workloads that you know as of now, most of the workloads are already migrating to the cloud. Yes, there are some workloads on-prem. It's going to be a hybrid cloud environment. However, the more and more you see it for agility, for cost benefits, for augmentation of people, for mobility, we are living in the age of what I call instant gratification. We want everything to be done in the cloud so that we get a better SLAs. So cloud migration is a trend, you cannot stop that. Every enterprise is looking and say, if I look at a workload and application, do I need to keep this and running on-prem? Or can it go to the cloud? Is it better done in Azure, AWS, GCP? That is happening already. So as the workloads go there, what happens next? Somebody has to manage them. You need to provide, make sure there are no outages. Make sure there are incidents are happening, you need to resolve them. You have to understand the root cause of the problem. Because at the end of the day, laws of physics don't change. You still need networking, you still need compute, you need storage, you need apps, you need load balancers. Somebody has to maintain them. Somebody has to keep them running, either in a virtual machines or in an elastic manner. Question is, who's going to do that? Do you take, for every workload, do you need to throw hundreds of people to do it? Is it a people approach? Are we going to talk about the next 5 years? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So if you look at the complexity now that there is a workload is happening, what happened to the complexity? Did the cloud simplify the complexity or increase the complexity? So if you look at what happened with microservices, containers, API-based services, including open source too, it created much more complex environment. Today, if you look at any application that is born, I call it cloud native application. It's like a spaghetti code. It's impossible to understand where it is. It'll be making an API call, some VMs will come in an ephemeral manner. They come and go and die with time. So given those environments, how do you do root cause analysis for those? Do you think there's a machine sitting there? The machine will come for 2 hours and gone. How do you point out what caused the problem? So imagine the world of microservices, containers, APIs-driven architectures with multiple repositories. Data is no longer in one repository. Any good enterprise will have data in Salesforce, it will have it in Workday, it will have it in some other repository, maybe Splunk, right? So once the data is so widely distributed, how do you correlate data across multiple SaaS applications, cloud services, and on-prem sources too? So the complexities actually became 10x with the cloud. Cloud's supposed to have simplified everything. We thought migrate the cloud, we are done, we all can go to Disneyland, it's summertime, right? No Disneyland for us for next 5 years, I guess, for people in this audience. I don't think you like that. So how do we solve that problem? So other thing that's happening is, in terms of what our customers are expecting, the users, your users and your customers, what do they want from us? They are asking, customer expectation is much more important today. Customer experience is number one today. People want, as I tell you, instant gratification. They want to be always on society. We want everything online through Netflix or Hulu, or we want to be able to have Uber service available, right? That's the life we are living in. Maybe not everybody, some people are, right? I'm not saying this type of experience is for everybody. Maybe there's, as I said, 50% of people may want it, maybe other 50 may not want it. But this is where the society is going. The experience, what I call the customer experience and user experience, is driving the adoption for these type of technologies. It's not the cost. I'll show you later on in the few trends. So initially it used to be cost and agility. Now experience is the reason why people want to get more customers. Customer retention is always tied to customer experience. So if given all these trends, what is the current state of the organization looks like? It's still service agents. You still have your help desk people, your level 1, level 2 people taking the phone calls, your escalation team, your L3, L4 people, whether they are SREs, whether they are cloud people, IT admins, all these guys are trying to do triage issues manually. They'll get into a war room today. If you have an escalation of a Teradata server is down, your load balancer is down, your application is down with a PayPal payment processing, what do? Call everybody in a room, everybody looking at the logs and events. Obviously, you have a lot of tools. You have Splunk, you probably have App Dynamic for application performance. You probably have PagerDuty for alerts, but still have to manually triage it. You're applying the tribal knowledge of a human brain to triage these solutions. That's your state of organization today. And it's filled with humans. That's okay to have it, but is that the efficient way to do it? Can you scale? Are you saying that by throwing more and more people, can you scale? So if you are a high growth company, this is a non-scalable solution right now. It's non-trackable also. It's not even efficient. Throwing people at this problem cannot solve the problem. Second is these problems are non-linear. That means even if I put 100 people think linearly. We humans don't think non-linear manner. This is where you need the deep learning and neural networks. Hopefully the machine algorithms can be better than us. They can provide something we don't derive as a trend. Use them as a tool to better our lives. So these communities, if you go talk to them, they want a tool because they don't want to be working 2 o'clock in the night, 100 people remotely logging through a Zoom, trying to go after this. If a tool can pinpoint where the solution is, what's the root cause, it'll make their lives better. That's the problem these guys are asking. So with these challenges, if you look at what does it lead to, I call it operational excellence or operational experience. Remember you guys heard about customer experience, CX, employee experience. If you talk to the operations team, this team wants these service agents and level, but they were saying that, help me. They're screaming. They're saying that I don't have an operational experience. I'm in an underground dungeon with no lights. I haven't been taking a vacation yet. These are thankless jobs. So for all the applications of Ubers and Netflix, etc., if you look at their operations department, they're running shift systems 24/7. Somebody is taking care of that. And with the age of that we are going in, can we help these people? Maybe not. Maybe this is the only solution. But this is an area worth taking a bet. You want to take an investment bet. You want to see if you can conquer the mountain here. This is an Everest. If you do it, nirvana for cloud and operations people. So what are the CIOs are looking at? Given these are the challenges and trends, if you talk to CIOs, what are they saying? They are saying number 3 things in my mind. One is businesses growth is important. Right now we are living in unprecedented growth for last 10 years. It continues to grow. Economy is booming in US. Growth is what driving digital transformation. If I'm a CIO, I'll talk to my CEO. What does my boss want? Generate more revenue, keep scaling the company, get more customers. Growth drives a lot more operational excellence. It requires productivity improvement. It requires efficiency. So CIOs are looking for, I want to do more with less people because I don't have budget to hire more people. I'm maxed out. Even if I want to hire it, I can't find talent. We are at a 3 to 4% unemployment rate, guys. Unheard of in 50, 60 years. So it's not that nobody is losing job here. You can't find people. You can't make fast people to come into this area. That's what I'm hearing from CIOs. They're also hearing for, I want better experience for employees and users and who are using my services. Remember experience, I talked about it. Finally, they don't want to talk about the legacy solutions. They said even the legacy solutions need help. Whether the legacy is your Siebel system, your Teradata server, with an Oracle server, they're saying that I need to manage this better. Can AI and cloud can help me to manage my legacy solutions, not just the new breed solutions. So these are the top 3 from a CIO perspective, right? Now if you look at where this leads to, this is my vision. What I'm saying is enterprises need to become autonomous. We need to have a true north. Take a bet in the enterprise. When you saw the driverless car concept came from Google and Tesla, they took a bet saying that, can we create that? It may be feasible, it may not be feasible. But unless you dream big, unless you have a big vision, you will not get there. Our goal is CEOs and events need to make their enterprise autonomous. What is autonomous may vary. Your level of comfort may be different. You may still want to have human beings. Some people may want autonomous to be like Uber. What does Uber do? You can pick up a phone, you can make reservations, or you can make a call a car. You don't need to talk to a human being. That's a new millennium experience today. I want to be able to do things on my own at any point of time at my chosen location. I don't need to be talking to you at a certain times. If you really want, people want self-service. they want great experience, they want always on. Can you provide that type of an autonomous enterprise? If a company can provide tools to solve that, there are enough buyers to buy those solutions. And that's the vision that I'm portraying to you in this presentation. And I call it autonomous enterprise. So let's go into what is again driving this. I think I mentioned it 3-4 times. This slide kind of nets it out. If you look at the raise, how many of you guys know what the FANG stock is? All of you probably trade every day, right? Show with the hands. You guys know FANG? Great. You guys buy these stocks. You make money on these things, hopefully, all of you. Look at what did that give you. It gave you the adoption. The AI technologies that all these vendors have used is the solution that has democratized the consumer experience. Then how come we cannot apply a similar technologies or similar solution in the enterprise? We can. You just have to have a focus. Question is, can we apply those things in a way to automate cloud, IT, customer service, customer support, DevOps? You pick it. All those areas can be automatable. That's the whole bet of having this 4th generation of computing. We went from mainframe to client server to cloud. Cloud is old. This conference, ideally, if I were people in this room, I should call it AI Expo. I mean, AI is a buzzword, everybody wants to call it, but that's what is happening. Right? So instead of, if you're looking at this thing, what can I do applying AI to the next generation? What chapters can we borrow? What can we learn in this area? I call it, you guys watch Games of Thrones? Yeah? That's the AI games begin. There will be only one winner here. It's going to be actually fighting against countries. If you guys saw it or not, it's going to be a fight against USA versus China. There's only one winner and the second will be a loser. The countries are behind this. China has so many companies investing in AI to automate the enterprise. Same thing US. If you are a US citizen, you are born here, you have a fundamental basic vote here to make America great again. With this, it's AI games. Let's begin. It's going to be a big games going on right now on AI to see who is going to win in what area. So here is some more data point from Gartner, not from me, right? So what Gartner is showing you here, a AI business value forecast that they have projected it. Again, what drives the revenue for them is 3 things. Again, customer experience, new revenue, and cost reduction. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to do AI or anything at the end if there's no savings. Are you reducing my bottom line? Are you driving my top line? Are you improving my customer experience so I can get more customers, happy users? If it doesn't translate into these 3, no CEO or CIO will look at your solutions. So you got to have a singular focus to drive adoption, right? From Gartner perspective. There's also another interesting chart if you look at it. Top reasons why enterprises and organizations are planning to adopt AI. Look at what is number 1, agility, not even cost. Even though we think people are applying AI to reduce the cost, it's agility. People want to be always on. I want to provide a better service. I want to be reactive. If a user doesn't like something, if he posts something on a Twitter, I want to make him happy or her happy. Agility is very important. Second thing is experience. So these words that I'm using, it's not from me. This is from Gartner polling. So when our analysts are doing this much data analysis and they're telling us, we should listen to some data. Data has some meaning. Question is, can we use the signal to build something on it? It's up to all of us. Right? Then what does it mean? There's another quote on Gartner. I don't work for Gartner, by the way, guys. I'm just showing you the data. Okay? I don't get paid by Gartner either. So by 2020, according to Gartner, it says 40% of large enterprises will combine AI and ML to automate IT operations and IT service management. Today is only 5%. That's humongous task. We are 19, middle of 19. That means we have another 3 years. They're saying in 3 years, almost 40% of all enterprises will be combining AI and ML. That's huge opportunity. If I were you guys, whether you are in a big company, executive, manager, developer, coder, entrepreneur, it's a great opportunity. When you get a white space like this, there's enough bet to be made. It's good for everybody. You can take an opportunity to drive adoption. You can make people happy. You can make revenue for your company. You can make money for yourself. This type of solution hasn't happened in IT in a long time. I call it a perfect storm. Cloud, AI, along with SaaS. 3 different disruptions are happening at the same time. If you go back to 2000, it was only SaaS as a hosting model. If you go back to 2006, it was only cloud. There was no AI, ML as we know it right now. Getting all three at the same time is like I call it a tectonic shifts that are happening. It's like an earthquake. Whenever there's a chaos, there's an opportunity for everybody. Right? Because there's so many things are under flux. It's a melting pot. So what can we do in that area? What are the challenges? What are users talking about this in the IT operations? Number one is, they're talking about still starting from the lack of talent. I'm starting from the right side. Lack of talent and skills. People are saying, I do not know how to debug. I do not know how to debug an application performance. I don't have the right skill set. A tool can be there from companies like AppDynamic or PagerDuty or Splunk, but yet still I need human being. I need a good DevOps person with a tribal knowledge to make sense. That means you need to still hire people to do that. You need to first find people. We talked about workloads migration to the cloud. It's a huge problem right now. According to Amazon, workloads migration is happening faster. Cloud is going to be at least 50 to 70 billion in revenue this year. Can you believe that? Across all the cloud vendors, the revenue generated by cloud providers is already in such a large amount. The biggest corporations today don't even do 5 billion market cap. If you go look at take maybe VMware or take ServiceNow, what is the revenue ServiceNow? Maybe 2 billion, 3 billion. Cloud today, between three vendors, is already 50 billion plus. Given that type of opportunity, these are the challenges people are facing. No real-time visibility. If an issue happens in this, I don't want to solve it 2 days later. I don't want to hire a Six Sigma black belt people to do a triage analysis, because every company comes with an SLA. Who is responsible to meet the SLAs? When a company sells you something, they have a 4-hour SLA, they have a 12-hour SLA to understand an incident, major incident, to resolve it. Who is going to do the root cause? How do you triage it? Are you going to get middle of the night every day? You'll have a shift system. Even if you have it, do you have to have all the rock stars available all the time? We talked about the complexity with serverless architecture and microservices. Finally, the cost. Cost is, it's like a gravity. It's pulling the corporations. I can't find people. Even if I find people, these people are expensive. They're not going to be cheap. People of this call will be, they'll command what you've been seeing in the article. In Bay Area, they'll command $200,000 base salary, maybe $300,000. I mean, imagine if you have 100 people like this trying to do this. It's not a scalable model. So, what does a day in life of an IT operator looks like in this area? Even if you have it, right? First is, if you have an issue, what does they do? You need to filter out the noise. Imagine put yourself with these people and shadow them. What do? Take all the data, first understand, I have a problem. You go down to where the problem is. Eliminate the noise. Use a tool to eliminate. This is where PagerDuty or some other tools may come in, right? So you take all your incidents, you take all your logs and events, hopefully from the alerts you can eliminate the noise. Eliminate the noise still will be thousands, maybe millions. Then I have to do the manual triage. I have to understand what event to correlate to what event. That is a non-linear. You can't just say this event and this event are correlated by looking at dimensions, right? The dimensions could be so many different variables. Alert has so many different attributes, so many different key values pairs in that line. Then I have to aggregate the SMEs, subject matter experts, who understand that problem. Hopefully, if I can isolate that, I can get to a CI. What does a CI stands for? Configuration item. Which entity has a problem? Where does the problem start? Is it a load balancer? Is it a VMware server? Is it a Cisco switch that causes it? Is there a power supply? Is it a UCS server from Cisco? Right? You have to isolate the root cause, where the problem is, what caused the problem. Then, once you know it, how do you fix it? Can you remediate it? This is a vicious circle for every incident a DevOps, IT admin, SRE goes through it. How many do you think you can do this whole thing? This whole thing will take what? 1 hour? 2 hours? 1 minute? If you're a rock star, maybe you can do it in a few hours. Most people this can take hours, days. If your site is down, every hour you're losing it. There are sites out there which report you what's the downtime. An hour downtime will cost you 100,000 to millions of dollars depending on what service you're running. So you'll be enough pressure. So your manager will be under pressure, your CEO is under pressure, right? You're losing customer service now to operate this. And how do you scale this across your? If you can automate these functions with an algorithmic trading, like trading is algorithm, you can do algorithmic based AI ops. That is what is AI ops is. Take your IT operations, think of a human brain, what you do, of the expert operator and try to codify it. Try to automate that. If you can figure that out, that's awesome. You can make money out of that. So that is what I mean by AI ops revolution. It started with early days, people talking about RPA as one way of doing it, action automation, right? RPA is kind of old school. Then people started talking about autonomic platforms. Then people started about, this is IBM terminology, call it cognitive computing. Still rule-based, right? Still some kind of a decision tree, some kind of an ML. I think the new area of AIOps is fully deep learning. Apply CNNs, RNNs, neural networks, apply stochastic algorithms, probabilistic algorithm. There's nothing 100%. There's a probability of everything. There's a probability that when you go out, somebody else will meet you there. There's no certainty in life. So the new area of AIOps is do Bayesian techniques, Markovian techniques. So if you can go map your organization and apply all this new way of doing things, you can do quite a bit. Starting from understanding unstructured documents to do natural language processing, deep learning, there's enough technology. You guys use Alexa at home? Any of you guys use Alexa or Google Home? See? If you're already using that, why don't you apply the same technology here? There are enough techniques from supervised to unsupervised natural language processing. Idea is that technology exists today. Can you build using something there? That's what I mean by AI operations. So if you do it, what does it look like? Let's say if you have a clean slate of paper and you want to do something new. First of all, it should have 3 properties, I call it. One is it has to be proactive, right? It can't be reactive. It has to be predictive. You need to tell me what may fail in my environment. You should be able to say, that server, that VM, that application may fail with this probability. It may not be right. You may be wrong, but we want probability-based. I need to know what will have an outage. What will cause the outage? And don't wait until it happens. Proactive is, before it happens, tell me, not after the fact. Right? It's not like you have an outage and then you tell me 2 hours later. It's too late. You already failed my SLA. Finally, it's prescriptive. Tell me where the problem is. It's like, I don't know if you guys know, author it. Provide me a press release. If you're a marketing person or a press, you know, a lot of articles are written by algorithms today. So why can't I have a prescriptive solution from you? An English authored, simple language that people can understand. How to fix the problem, what caused the problem. Be very prescriptive. Right? This is what I mean by AI. Now, if you look at what is underneath, assuming those properties, let me now talk about what type of use cases you need. I mean, there may be other use cases. I'm giving you a glimpse into what I think are the most important from what I've seen it. These may not be the right. You guys may discover some other better solutions, better use cases, but at least I want to give you a trend that I'm seeing out there. One trend is in the world of IT operations and IT service management, it's called major incident. Any of you guys know major incidents? Show of hands. Few people. Major incident is a problem incident in the IT. Can you take all the incident and alerts and events and can you determine when there's a major incident in your company? Because when there is a major incident, there is a certain SLAs you have to pay for it and meet for it. Can you identify these major incidents? Can you actually resolve it? Can you predict when the major incidents are happening? Earlier slide talked about proactive predictive. So major incident identification, detection, resolution is an extremely interesting problem for enterprises. Both commercial enterprises, large enterprises, mid-market, and cloud companies. If you can figure out how to do this thing, it's awesome. Second thing, outage prediction. Along with major incident, can you also predict what outages are happening in my environment? For where do I do outages? For all entities. What are entities? CIs. Stand for configuration item. Where do they get CIs from? That's your CMDB. That is your, think of CMDB as your, it's defining your organization. What servers you got, what applications you have, what are your users, what services are running, what microservices are running. So having a good CMDB is very important for any organization. What assets you got, how do you discover them? In the world of cloud and microservices, a VM will come and gone in 2 seconds. Do you know that IP address existed? It came and gone. How do you going to track the problem to that VM? Or to that microservice that you rented it only for an hour? Or to an API call that came and performed some function? The problem might be that. How do you trace it? So making a CMDB to be cloud and dynamic hasn't been done before. That's a very interesting problem. Dynamic CMDB and cloud. And finally, the last one is automate our RCA. How many of you guys know what RCA is? Root cause analysis. That is the nirvana at the end. At the end, if you can figure out what is RCA, then you are actually as close to self-healing is. So now you are really doing the job or eliminating a human in the equation. That's the whole idea of AOps. Question is, can we do 20%, 30% or 100% or 90% of a DevOps role? And this is what I mean by automating the autonomous enterprises. So what to automate here? The next slide talks about a lot of things, starting from monitoring tools. It doesn't matter. It's good news is we are all living in the data. When you go online, from what you do, Google is tracking it, Facebook is tracking it. What articles are you sharing it? What pictures are you posting it? If you are in Twitter, you're sharing with your users, your communities. Same thing here. Good news is there is a data exhaust. I call this one is your garbage. You can collect your own garbage and make sense out of it. Feed off of your own exhaust. The exhaust could be coming from various tools, from monitoring tools, event tools, log management tools, alerts tools, doesn't matter, configuration management tools. Take the data from all these things. See if you can make sense. If you want to go build it yourself. Or this is an area you don't want to build it. There are vendors out there specializing with funded by VCs, spending hundreds of $millions. You want to try those solutions. You don't want to reinvent this wheel. Not only you don't want to reinvent it, it's an expensive solution. People have spent years with multiple, tens to hundreds of PhDs solving this problem. But the problems are root cause analysis. In that if you look at it, what does it say? Is a change caused this incident? Typically it's always a change. Oh, I didn't do anything, I made only one small change. That's how people start. That configuration or to a file or a change, that triggers everything. So below each of them I even gave you the statements of what caused the problem. Who should I assign this issue to? What other systems are broken because of this, right? What services are impacted, right? Who should I impact? How many users are impacted? Should I notify them? I have seen a similar issue. Can you find me similar issues that have happened in the past? How do I fix them? Or did some other buddy has it? Maybe some other company has a similar issue. So this is what I mean by automating. If you can figure out for each of these verticals, examples, within IT operations, with various corner cases, that is what I mean by operations. You really don't need a human being there. If you can question is how well can you do it? Even if you have false positives, it's okay. Because what's going to happen? Eventually the system, if it has a feedback loop, it's going to get correct. The system is not going to sleep like us. After today, we are going to go home, we'll have dinners, we'll sleep. Hopefully these algorithms and these systems are running 24/7. There's a feedback loop, there's a reinforcement learning loop. So find solutions which do those things. Don't get solutions which are manual, with a data science in a box. Don't get solutions where a guy is saying, give me all the data, I'm going to throw data scientist. That's old school. The new school is called Auto ML. Have you guys heard about what is Auto ML is? If not, please read about that. So running your algorithms online, without training it manually with a human being is Auto ML platforms being built. All these companies are building those. So the training is happening in automated manner in real time. The scoring is happening in automated manner in real time. You want solutions like that. It knows when to take down a model. It knows when to have it. Do you think when the autonomous car is driving down, there's a human being sitting there and training the algorithm? It has to figure it out. On the road, there's a human being or a deer. I need to make a decision making. These type of decision engine needs a new type of algorithms that are trained real time with the new data, learning real time. And you also want this algorithm to be like a kid who is born, who has already went to the 12th grade. Many of you guys have kids, it's like you don't need to go to learning to send to a school. He's ready to perform an SAT exam. You want solution like that, that already ingested, it has enough knowledge on day one. Not coming and training on your data, taking 9 months or 6 months. That is old school. So put these as a requirements if you are looking for solutions like this, when you are buying from vendors. So what does the data pipeline looks like, if you're interested in? Multiple things you can do. First of all, you need to collect all the data I talked about. Whether they come from incidents, cases, you can come from CMDB, problem, events, alerts, really doesn't matter. You want to correlate this data in a way. using what I call multiple algorithms, not one. A good solution will have hundreds of these algorithms will be running. Some are deep learning, some are probabilistic, some are, as I said, stochastic, Bayesian, or classical ML. What are they trying to do? Trying to do deduplication, applying clustering techniques, applying temporal analysis, state space analysis, to the point doing graph analysis. Build a graph of every CI. Like users, we are all very complex human beings, we are. Every item in your company should maybe complex. Thresholds don't work. You can't say if it is 90%, call it a failure. If my CPU is running at 90%. That's old school. That's how we ran it for last 30 years. 90% maybe it's okay. Maybe it has a duty cycle. It needs to learn. So creating these type of a graphical, global graphs, local graphs, right? I call them incident problem change graphs. If you can derive those graphs and see the connectivity, I call it the soft tissue of how your enterprise is built, you can overlay where the problems are in your environment, dynamically, in real time. And graphs themselves don't have what? Time dimension. This graph is a point in time. Extending that to time dimension is a very interesting problem. That is like your E equal to mc square, relativity theory, guys. So this is not something you can easily solve. So taking enterprise graph and doing a temporal correlation across time. Think about those solutions, guys. I'm not saying those things always work. Some of them may work, may not work, but apply different techniques. Figure out what works for you guys. Or find a vendor who has built these solutions. Test it out. See if it works in your environment. See at what degree it works. Right? The output of that should be hopefully handful of major incidents. If you are generating major incidents like hundreds and thousands, then you have a problem. It's like you have a nuclear meltdown. Hopefully not, right? So you want to have a very few major incidents in a single day. If you are getting no more than single digits to tens of major incidents from these kind of systems, you want to throw away those solutions. You don't want those. So that is the old school of generating alerts and alert aggregate. Now you want handful of highly decisive output that where you can make. That's where the human will come and say, you know what, this still looks good or it's still a false positive. But you want numbers to be very small, single digits, maybe double digits at most. So what does it mean by benefits, right? So assuming this, what is the benefits? Everything that I talked earlier as a problem is a benefit. Starting from what? From revenue growth. So now I can go to my boss and say, hey, you want to hire more officers, you want to hire more people, more customers? Yes, I'm ready to meet the demand. So revenue solves all the problem. Resources, self-service, experience, right? I can meet different SLAs, MTTR, FCR, mean time to resolution. I can cut down quite a lot here. I can cut down your costs, downtime costs, uptime, making sure our systems are uptime. So it's endless if you can draw once you get this thing going, working for you guys. So who will benefit from this? Obviously users, communities, all of us, depending on whichever service, right? Users as all kinds. Even the agents will benefit too, your L1, L2 community. Your L3, L4 community also will benefit. So you are going to improve the lives of everybody. So these kind of solutions have such a long, what I call large impact they can make on society. It's worth taking these bets. It's worth investing dollars on this. Worth fighting for. It's a bet. It may be reality or not, nobody knows. You'll know it in our lifetime, hopefully in the next 3-4 years. Right? Now if you look at the ROI, is there an ROI? That's what people ask me. All these things sounds good. Is there a hard ROI here? Absolutely. If these kind of solutions you can, if I can do the job of DevOps, there's a real hard ROIs involved here. Both in terms of cost, CSAT score, your NPS, Net Promoter scores, right? Business uptime, huge guys. So the data shows that any of these things are huge change. These are not a small delta change in how you run your businesses. How does the landscape looks like? I didn't put everybody in the world, but I put in a handful of vendors to show how it looks like. Here is the monitoring vendors. Here is an event management vendor. Here are some alert vendors, some APM vendors, including metric and time series analysis, and IT service management. I took a handful of 5 different verticals. Each of them are billion-dollar companies with billion-dollar revenues in this category. So where is AOps fits in here? Is it a manager of a manager? Is there something new will happen in that industry? That's where you have to look for. Is there a white space here that all of us can go conquer it and create enough space? And that's what I'm saying that there is. It's up to us to prove it and validate that. And that's the AI ops, I call it. It's a new space, new vertical is getting created. There will be many vendors. It may not be one vendor. It may be under 2-3 vendors. There's enough space for this. It's a large enough billion-dollar problem to solve. This is your next generation IT and cloud operations. It will sit somewhere in between the application monitoring to service management vendors to create its own white space. And when that happens, when the dust settles, there will be 2-3 vendors standing. A lot of other guys will get eliminated. They may get consolidated. But when the dust settles, there will be 2-3 vendors here, who are they called the winners. So if you look at that, what does it mean at the end? I call this one the AIOps to be the last journey. I even call it last mile of enterprise operations. IT operations has been going on for now 30-40 years, from 1980s. We have automated so many different things. If you can do this last mile problem, like in telcos, the last mile to your house, the cable line, that's what you think of it. Can we automate human roles in enterprise as much as possible? Maybe the degree will vary. Maybe 10% in the beginning, eventually we'll get to a maturity of 90%. But it is possible, it is feasible. Can we get to that? Finally, I'm convincing you that there is, looking at market research from Forrester, Gartner, pick your own analyst vendor. This is a large market, guys. There's plenty of money to be made here. There's plenty of opportunity for everybody and make life saved. That's it, guys. With that, my time is, I have only 2-3 minutes. I'm happy to open to questions. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay, I'm open to any questions, folks. If you guys have, please raise your hands. If you can come forward or if you can stand up and shout, I can listen to you.
Yes. He's, don't let him run out. Go ahead and please meet here on the side of the stage, and then you can direct your questions directly to him. I think it's the way.
Let me repeat the question. Is AI limited to IT ops or other domains? There's no reason AI is limited. AI is applied everywhere. The term AI ops, look, at the end, you and me don't decide that. Analysts, the experts and gurus will decide what AI ops is, what type, what shape and form. Today, AI ops in the Gartner terminology, they have a market guide. It includes everything in the operations, customer service and support. How well they will go beyond that, I don't know yet. But there's enough wood to cut in the AI ops definition that I showed you. Focusing on cloud, DevOps, and IT and customer support, that's good enough area to be there. What will happen in the future, even I don't know. Thank you.
No, go ahead and go on down. We'll have our next speaker, and then if you have questions, they can.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I think you're out of time.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm being ruled by the clock here. Sorry. We want to continue the conversation. The interesting thing is that he's opened up a topic that is going to take some time to conclude, many years. But for now, we're going to continue the same conversation with our next speaker, Bahanu Singh, who's going to talk about AI and ops in the context of data. More data, better. Richer data, better. But not if it's not in the right context. So this next conversation is going to be talking a lot about what you've just heard, in addition to framing it in context. So please welcome Bahanu Singh.